Hello, and welcome to our webinar, Fall in Love with Series Nonfiction. I'm Julia Smith, Senior Editor for Books for Youth at Booklist. Before we begin, I'd like to go over some technical details. Links to today's slide presentation and title list were included in the reminder email you received from Zoom 1 hour ago. To download them, please open that email, scroll to the bottom, and click on the links located there. You can also download the slides and title list by typing the URLs on this screen into your web browser. If you have any trouble accessing these materials, please contact us at webinars@booklistonline.com. The audience is in listen-only mode, but we welcome any questions you may have. On the bottom of your screen is a toolbar with a button for Q&A. If you have a question or need technical assistance, simply click Q&A and type your message into the box that appears. We will do our best to respond to all tech-related questions, and we'll pass along all other questions to today's panelists so they can follow up with you after the webinar. Booklist offers closed captioning on all webinars. To enable or disable captions on your screen, please look for and click the captions icon on the toolbar mentioned earlier. From there, you can select Show or Hide Captions from the menu that appears. If you choose to enable subtitles, you can adjust the size of the captions at any time by selecting Caption Settings. And finally, Booklist expects all participants to maintain an atmosphere of respect and fairness. Anyone who violates this standard of behavior, including engaging in any form of harassment, may, at the discretion of the organizers, be immediately removed. Today, we have the pleasure of hearing from Anna Erickson, Vice President of Sales for the Creative Company, Wendy Vincent, Brand Director at Rourke Educational Media, Derek Zobel, President of Bellwether Media, Catherine Camisa, Marketing Director of The Child's World, and Maisha Johnson, Manager of Educational and Event Marketing at Scholastic. First, we'll hear from Anna Erickson. Anna has worked in children's book publishing for over 25 years and is stubbornly convinced that all children deserve access to high-quality reading material. She is based in Oakland, California. Thanks for joining us today, Anna.
Thank you, Julia. I'm pleased to be here. Welcome, everybody. Okay, we'll kick it off with the Creative Company and the highlight titles for fall from Creative and two of our sister publishers based in Southern Minnesota next. And they are Amicus and Black Rabbit Books. So we'll start with Amicus next. And Amicus, as many of you know, really serves the youngest readers, those who are just beginning their journey and moving from emergent to transitional stages. And that begins with the Spot imprint. The entire Spot program carries an ATOS of 1.0 or under. So these are truly low-level titles. But they use a really fun search and find framework in every single book to expand that low-level reading experience. So you see here at the beginning of each title, you're invited to quote unquote spot 4 keywords and 4 photographic details as you move through the text. Next. And this season, the Spot format is highlighting our solar system. Next. And as you know, this program really does cover a range of topics, not only science related, but animals, community life, transportation, you name it. Next. But they all carry several distinguishing characteristics, including the search and find framework, but also really crisp, friendly images and great text, even though it's low level. Next, it is cohesive, and that is a defining feature of the Spot brand, no matter which season we're talking about. All of the books we're looking at in this program, Creative, Amicus, and Black Rabbit, come in both library-bound hardcover, paperback, and ebook, and most of them are now available in all 3 formats in Spanish as well as English. So I won't shout that out on every single series, but know that when you see these books in English, they are also there in Spanish. Next. Okay. Curious about is Amicus's high interest imprint, and it takes a question and answer format to explore next a whole range of high interest topics, including this series, Curious About Sports. And these titles do several things. They're looking at popular sports from a kid's eye perspective. So these are not, for example, about professional Major League Baseball or NHL hockey. These are about the what it would be to participate as a kid. So Little League and school sports, not the big league stuff. Next. All of these use a really colorful, just a design that's a little bit eye-popping and contemporary with those really saturated colors. And even though that sounds like kind of a silly thing, I think it does contribute to the overall appeal next when we're dealing with high interest topics in particular. So once again, these are trying to get at the kid's eye perspective of the topic of choice and using these questions that really do drill down to a kid's interest next to tell the story and move the text along. So they're great choices for independent reading. Next. Okay. This series, Curious About, is also featuring popular brands this time, favorite brands. Next, with a whole range of kid-friendly and kid kind of high interest brands. Next. Okay. Once again, you can see just the look and feel of these feels fresh, feels contemporary, and gives you a high degree of photographs to go with the high interest text. Next. Okay. Amicus has really become quite well known for the Amicus Illustrated imprint. And this is where they're able to explore narrative nonfiction for the second grade level with some thoughtful twists next. And in this case, we have an extension of the My Life With series. Many of you are familiar with this from recent seasons. And in this program, author Mari Shu interviews a series of kids. So each one of these books is based on a real kid and their real experience. And that firsthand viewpoint that they bring to the story seems to really resonate with our readers. These have been well received, well reviewed, and incredibly popular. So you'll see the previously published titles on the right and the 4 new titles on the left there. Next. And what shines through on each of these is that the kids that Mari is interviewing make it clear that this is one part of their life. You know, it may be a big part of their life, but it is by no means the entirety of their life or their primary identity. And that really shines through no matter the topic. Next. Okay. These are available as are most of these I mentioned in Spanish as well as English. Next. And paperback as well as hardcover. Okay. While Amicus is really zeroing in on the kids who are beginning their reading journey, Black Rabbit is there to help when a child is maybe a great reader, but just hasn't quite clicked yet. It's not quite working, and they may be dealing with a lot of competition for their time and attention. Next. So these series within the Black Rabbit family are inevitably high interest. They have broad interest range and low reading levels, and they're really there to help reluctant readers and readers at risk. This is certainly true for Bolt Jr. Next, which is the youngest imprint, and they like to go straight to the most perennially popular topics such as, you got it, sharks. Next. They use really compelling images and a very carefully templated look. Next. To give you a lot of success. Once you pick up one book, you're there for the next book. And they have a touch of humor in it. So I see a spread like this, and I think of the spread as, swim, little turtle, swim, go, go, go. Nothing gruesome, but there's a little drama in there. Next. Moving up to the Bolt level, which serves the 3rd grade reading level, but again, with a very broad interest range. Next, we've got 3 series. These are all 32-page books, so they're fairly substantial. Next, but they're using popular topics and a lot of great infographics. Next, as well as the text to bring you in and then keep you reading as you turn those 32 pages. Next. And as ever, they're trying to bring a little excitement, a little drama next to the covers as well as the interiors. So in addition to Dangerous Bugs, next, we've got also for you this season, next, Federal Protectors. So a nice little trio of high interest titles for the 3rd grade level next. And you get this little chance here to see next how they're using those infographics and the images to really expand on the story itself. Next. Okay, little add-on this season. We're really pleased to offer library-bound editions only of a set from Rebel Girls, another independent publisher based out in California. Next, these books profile leaders, women who are in leadership positions in a 64-page format, a really robust format. So these are great bios with a contemporary approach from the Rebel Girls family. Okay, next. And you'll be seeing more titles from Rebel Girls going forward. And then last but not least, from this little family of companies, Creative itself, next, is pleased to feature Seedlings, our 1st grade series, broad-ranging series. Next. This time we've got dinos with really crisp, good graphics. Next. As always, this series has an ATOS that's right between 1.5 and 2.0. So it's a wonderful introduction to informational text for the younger kids. Next, with all of the hallmarks for back matter, TOC, you name it. We also have for you 42 Living Wild titles. This is a single subject animal series next for older kids. So these are big, robust 48-page books for middle school. There's not a lot out there at this age range for single subject. Next. So these are new editions of the Living Wild books that you probably know well from the past. They've been completely revised and updated from the old editions. These will replace the old editions. We've got 42 for you this season next, and there's another 44 coming in the spring next. So that will bring the entire series up to date. We're just doing a limited number of Spanish this season, and we'll be adding additional translations as we go. Next. Okay, and last but not least from us, we're so pleased to add to our family of sports history titles, the WNBA. So next, we've got all 12 teams from the WNBA profiled, again, in a 32-page format for grades 4 and up. Next, with a wealth of photos and the full story of each team. These are friendly books for fans, so enjoy. Next. That's it for us. I hope we are able to see some of you in person at the AASL next week. But in the meantime, please reach out, visit our websites, and thank you so much to Booklist for hosting today.
Thank you, Anna. And now we'll hear from Wendy Vincent. Wendy is a former kindergarten teacher who still misses her students every day. She has worked in educational publishing for over 15 years. Wendy lives in Ohio, where she likes to shop for antiques, walk her dog, and fall asleep while reading. Thanks for being here today, Wendy.
Thank you so much for having us, Julia. And thank you for joining us, everyone. We're so very lucky to be in the company of so many book lovers and book creators today. At Rourke, we like to start every presentation reminding folks of our mission, and that is perfectly illustrated by our 3 R's: relevance, representation, and respect. We create content that speaks to kids, their world, and the topics they care about. We foster creator teams and topics that reflect our readers' diverse and complex lives and illuminate stories that need to be told, and we develop content that does not shy away from challenging and complex subjects for all readers, honoring their multiple identities and reading journeys. So let's take a look at how these principles live in our new fall titles for 2023. And just a reminder, these are all available in ebook, hardcover, and paperback, and are all supported by free online downloadable activities. Our first series today is one that will be very familiar, but it continues to evolve. Leaders Like Us release 6 of a very well-reviewed series of 24 and counting. In fact, we just received notification of review in the upcoming continuing nonfiction series category in the October 15th issue of Booklist, so look for us on page 43. Our new biography features for fall are Asian American leaders Yuri Kochiyama and Dilip Singh Sond, and Latinx leaders Jose Feliciano and Pura Belpre. Perfect for both read-alouds and research, these beautifully illustrated titles are just right for readers in grades 2 through 4 and learners of all ages. First, we introduce readers to the life of political activist Yuri Kochiyama. Yuri Kochiyama and her family were imprisoned during World War II for being Japanese American. It made Yuri see the world differently forever. It gave her the passion to fight against injustice the rest of her life. Learn about the causes Yuri stood up for and the legacy she left. Also included in this release is the biography of Dilip Singh Sond. Judge Sond was born to a Sikh family in a small village in India. He went on to become a scholar, public speaker, author, farmer, judge, and the first Asian American elected to the United States Congress. And I'm thrilled to reintroduce author and illustrator team, Dr. Karen Su and Arlo Lee. Karen Su is a professor of global Asian studies at the University of Illinois, Chicago, and Arlo Lee is an artist originally from China and now based in the US. Karen and Arlo are also the team behind the recently reviewed biographies of Asian American leaders Grace Lee Boggs and Philip Vera Cruz. And introducing the first Latinx leaders highlighted in our Leaders Like Us series, starting with Jose Feliciano. Jose Feliciano believed that music had the power to bring people of different backgrounds together. Born blind and poor, Jose never gave up on his dream of becoming a musician. Using his talent for guitar playing and singing, Jose spread his message of peace by blending music genres as well as incorporating multiple languages. Next, we have the biography of librarian Pura Belpre. Pura believed the library was for everyone. She used her skill in storytelling to implement bilingual programming and encourage and facilitate the involvement of Spanish-speaking children and their families. And we've added new members to the Leaders Like Us author and illustrator team. We are thrilled to welcome author Annette Clayton and illustrator Elise Chavari, who was herself the illustrator of a Pura Belpre honor book. These two wonderful creators have already completed work on 2 new biographies in the Leaders Like Us series available in February. Another familiar face in the lineup, veteran Rourke author and Booklist starred title Travel to Coolest Collections, Caitlin Dooling joins our team once again for a new high-low series, perfect for readers who love the thrill of speed and racing. The At the Starting Line series of 2 titles is all about precision, performance, and perseverance. In the title People Power, readers learn about the pure heart and muscle of the human mind and body. Accessible text and engaging speed-inspired designs will delight readers looking for content that fits their interests. And following the popularity of engine-driven drama, we have motorsports. From the F1 track to the Fairground Derby, readers will learn about extreme vehicles, top competitors, history-making races, and what to expect next in automobile, motorcycle, powerboat, airplane, and kart racing. Each title in the At the Starting Line series includes after-reading activities and end matter, like a memory game, an extension activity, and an index. This month's October 1st Booklist review calls At the Starting Line an attractive, attention-catching series. Also, in our high-low escape imprint for middle to upper elementary, we present Escape, Rescue, and Survival, in which returning Rourke author Chris Schwab creates another perfect series that a recent Booklist review explains will appeal to readers who thrill over close calls with danger. Our Water and Weather title features stories of survival in the face of water and weather emergencies. Readers will explore questions like, would you know what to do if you were lost at sea without food or water? Or could you fight back in a shark attack? Read these real-life stories of people who faced deadly situations and lived to tell about them. And in Mountain and Wilderness, readers learn that adventures into the wilderness can turn dangerous. Would you know how to survive a bear attack? Would you cut off your own hand to save your life? Titles in this series feature browsable text with callouts and sidebars, point of use vocabulary, and after reading activities. And finally, another addition to a unique and much needed math-centric series, Data in Your World. Joining our existing highly reviewed titles, Communities Near and Far, and Exploring Our Schools, we present Understanding Finances. Created according to grade level data representation and math inquiry, Understanding Finances helps readers examine how we can use data to manage our money, but also to compare living wages, learn about interest, inflation, and our economy, and so much more. Readers also learn to question and represent data in ways that are equitable and to look for issues that can make data inaccurate or misrepresentative. We were thrilled to work again with two academics, doctors of math education, who teach teachers how to teach math, Dr. Courtney Kessler and Dr. Matthew Felton Kessler. Both authors focus on equity in mathematics through the lens of real-world topics that kids care about. Courtney and Matt are very active in key organizations for mathematics educators, such as the National Council for Teachers of Mathematics, and understand the need for resources that integrate reading and mathematics instruction. And that's our last new title, but don't forget about the last time we were here presenting Spring 23, which received some outstanding reviews from School Library Journal and Booklist, especially for 3 of our newly translated science series. Also of note, big news from Booklist this year. Our starred review series, Travel To, was listed as a top 10 nonfiction series of the year. So get your hands on those titles before our new Travel To titles release in fall of 24. And finally, speaking of new releases, I can't leave without giving you all a sneak peek of some of our new titles. Travel to Historically Black Colleges and Universities is the newest release in our Travel To series. Due to advanced interest and demand for this title, we released it early and it is available now. You may recognize J.P. Miller, the award-winning author of this title and the originator of our Leaders Like Us series. J.P. is also a proud alum of Tennessee State University. And because it is October, I had to reveal the covers of our new series, especially for the brave origin stories. This illustrated series highlights the history of myths, monsters, and tales to try to discover where these stories came from and how they have evolved to the versions we share today. Origin stories will be in our warehouse in February. And just in case you missed it, Leaders Like Us author team members Caitlin Dooling and Dr. Karen Sue joined Julia Smith and the folks at Booklist for an exclusive webinar discussing representative biographies. So head over to the webinar archive to check that out. Thanks again for having us today. We can't wait to be back next season showcasing more of our new titles.
Thank you so much, Wendy. Next, we'll hear from Derek Zobel. Derek was the 3rd employee at Bellwether Media and has worked in various roles there over the past 16 years. Today, he leads the Bellwether team in their mission to create books that kids truly want to read. Outside of work, he enjoys reading, building computers, baseball, volunteering on the local PTA, and spending time with his wife and 3 kids. The floor is yours, Derek.
Thank you so much. And I just got to say, great book so far, everyone. Julia said, my name is Derek Zobel. I am currently the president of Bellwether Media. Next. Our mission is to improve literacy by creating engaging, high-interest nonfiction for beginning and struggling readers. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple, and we do our best to stick to it. Next. Why? Well, 3rd to 4th graders reach reading proficiency. 50% of adults cannot read an 8th grade level. Less than 50% of students read more than 15 minutes per day. In one study, students who began a school year as a struggling reader but ended the year above the benchmarks simply read for just 6 more minutes per day. And of course, the pandemic has widened the achievement gap and led to worse reader scores across the board. So our thinking is if we can be that high interest book, that solution for that 6 more minutes, we can do a lot to help with literacy. Next. So how do we do it? Well, at Bellwether, a few key things. First of all, we're fewer than 20 people. Of those people, 13 are editors and designers who make, curate, design, edit the books all in-house. So we have consistency throughout. But we do high interest content. We have that premium design. Again, everything's made in-house, like I said, unmatched consistency. As I was introduced, I have been at Bellwether for quite some time. Back in the day, I worked on some books. If you had a Blast Off Readers Level 2 book from one that I edited, I can't think of a title now, back in 2007, and you took and compared it to one today. The one today would be a better book, I'll admit that, but it would be that same reading level. It would slot right in and give you that consistency. We've had fantastic reviews for years, School Library Journal, Booklist, wherever you want to look. An excellent fill rate. We believe in printing for the lifetime of the book, so we usually have enough stock. I think right now we have no back orders. So, and we also have a lifetime guarantee, which I'll talk more about at the end. But we think if you buy a book for your library, it should stay there forever. And we know that kids throw them in backpacks, throw them at home, fight about them with their siblings, and so on. And finally, when we look at what titles, what series, what topics to do, we want to focus on things and you know, that interest kids and make books that kids love. Next. So why nonfiction? This is the last slide before we get into the books, but you know, as Julie said, I have 3 kids, and I found this meme. My brother and sister and I have kids, and we shared it. But now that I have children, I really understand the scene in Return of the Jedi, where Yoda is so tired of answering Luke's questions that he just up and dies, because kids are curious. You know, they're naturally curious about their world. So many questions. And nonfiction books today, they're way more diverse. You saw the stuff from the previous presenters, and I'm sure the ones after me, than ever before. They're not boring textbooks. They also improve vocabulary, provide readers with background information, to give them personal connections to the natural world. And my favorite, a study in the Journal of Literacy Research found that more than 80% of first graders opted for nonfiction when they could choose their own book. Next. Highlights for this fall, 138 titles. We have some illustrated narrative nonfiction, some graphic nonfiction. We got popular high interest subjects, a few curriculum aligned topics, as you can see there. Next. Our imprints, just a quick overview. The top level, we call informally our Blast Off Universe. Blast Off Missions, that are narrative nonfiction imprint, reading level of 1 to 2, fully illustrated. Blast Off Beginners is our traditional nonfiction kindergarten level imprint. Blast Off Readers is the flagship. It's what we're known for most of all. That's reading level of beginning to first to end to second through the 3 levels we publish in there. And then Blast Off Discovery is that reading to learn 4th grade kind of early fluency imprint. Epic and Torque in the bottom left are our high-low imprints for those striving, reluctant, and struggling readers. Black Sheep is our fun graphic nonfiction series, and Express is our makerspace imprint. Next. This is the Blast Off Universe. It's what I said a little about back there. This is a favorite spread from the catalog. We call it like the Blast of Color. You can see there how Missions is on its own there, fully illustrated. Grade level 1 to 2. It's for that kid who might not want a traditional approach to nonfiction, might need a little more engagement, a little more narrative with it. And then beginners, readers, discovery, you can see how the text amps up as you move higher in the levels. Next, please. So we'll start with Missions. What's new for fall? Next. The basics. It's high interest subjects, like I said, fully illustrated, narrative text, interest that gets that K to 3 interest. Reading level 1 to 2, 24 pages, and perfect reader size. Next. Some features. In the beginning of the book, there's mission goals, and at the end, there's beyond the mission. So what to pay attention to while you're reading, while you're learning. And then at the end, how to think beyond. If you read a book about moons, you know, design your own moon. What does it look like? What shape is it? And so on. Blast Off Jimmy, who are a little affectionate, we affectionately call him that. He's our little mascot, I guess you could say. He jumps in with fun facts about things, and then each series in this imprint ends with a nice little summary. Next. New series for the fall, Cities Through Time. This is a favorite of The Office. Next. It starts with the beginning and founding of the city. Here's the beginning of Mexico City. Next. And they all end. Here's end of Tokyo, ending with a summary and then a nice little timeline. Next. Machines at Work, this is an extension. It follows machines in a day of their work, whatever they do. That is the narrative. Next. Here you can see the collectors going out to their garbage collectors during the day. Next. And here you can see the train yard and Blast Off Jimmy jumping in with a fun fact. Next. Blast Off Beginners, moving on. This is our kindergarten level imprint. Next. Very traditional nonfiction approach here. You can see sports fun, 8 new titles. Next. These are your basic introductions. Blast Off Beginners has a consistent design throughout the entire imprint. That very first independent reading experience, you'll see consistent text placement in the left, the same design, callouts with clear labels. Next. And each one ends with soccer facts, summing up the positions, the moves, whatever it may be, or the parts of the field. And all books at this level have a picture glossary. Next. Happy Holidays is an extension, 6 new titles. Next. You can see here it's the same design as the Sports Fun series because it is within the beginner's imprint. Next. And you can see the same back matter, the summary and the picture glossary. Next. Too cute. Man, just they continued the baby animals going nuts. My daughter's 9, but she still wants to know if we continue to do these. Next. That same design as the previous 2 series to keep that consistency for those early readers so they know what books match their reading level. Next. And here's the summary showing the life stages of a goat. And day in the life, and there's your picture glossary. Next. Moving on to Blast Off Readers, our flagship imprint. Next. We currently publish into 3 levels within Blast Off Readers. Next. See It Grow, this is an extension, level 1. My favorite one here is a pineapple. It's a little ridiculous, honestly. Next. You can see you're moving up from beginners, a little more considerate text, a little more complicated special features. Next. You can see here, for example, the life cycle of a rose is a little more complex special feature for that next level of reader. Next. Who's Who Owls. We are a big bird office. We love birds, and we thought, why not do a series featuring awesome owls? Next. So you can see this is a level 2, a little more consistent text, a little more varied placement, and a little more complicated special features. Next. And you'll see here the fun growing up. These are burrowing owls, I believe, and just kind of their lifestyle. Next. Animals at Risk. This is a surprising hit for us. I don't really say surprising because animals are great, but it's a really good blend of about the animal, why it's in danger, but also why it's critically important to its ecosystem and the food webs and everything there. So it really gives that whole picture. Next. Again, level 2. So you can see a little more complicated infographic there, a little more considerate text placement. Next. And there, like we said, the threats to it. Next. Beginning to end. Next. You can see here another level 2 book. This is a process series. Next. And you can see here, again, parts of the process, the crayons. Next. I'm going to speed up a little bit because I have a little limited time left. So Countries of the World extensions here. Next. That same level 2. I can see beautiful books, good photo selection. Next. It features animals, famous faces, all that stuff you'd expect in a nice country series for the first country series a student encounters. Careers in STEM, we're moving on to level 3. Next. Here you see marine biologists. What do they do in real life? Next. And also we feature famous faces in the series. Here you can see Bill Nye as the famous mechanical engineer. Next. Discovery. This is our 4th grade level imprint. Next. Native American nations. We got around to doing a series. We finally located not just some authentic native voice authors, but also we worked with the Indigenous Studies Department out of the UC Berkeley to have some authenticity to these. Next. It'll be everything about the history of the nations, their resources, where their original lands were. Next. And what they are today and how their government is managed today. Next. Additional brand books in our Behind the Brand, 4 new titles. Next. Timelines, history, famous products, philanthropy. Next. All of that is located in here, including famous faces. Next. Epic. Next. This is our high, ultra low. 2nd grade reading level goes up through junior high. NFL team profiles, 32 titles. You can see here tons of information, colorful, bright, very engaging to those reluctant, struggling readers. Next. Trophy cases featuring, each franchise's successes. Next. And you can see here a summarizing fact spread at the end, showing timelines, stadiums, famous players, everything. Next. 4 more dinosaurs in our dinosaur series. Moving on. Next, you can see here, we worked with a paleo artist on these. These are all our own illustrations. Next. You can see here more illustrations. Next. Fossil maps at the end. Next. And then cool cars. Next. Again, everything fun about the car, where it's made, everything. Next. The basics, how to identify, how many were made. The cost is always astronomical on these. Next. Moving on, torque. Next. War histories. Next. Everything you'd want about a war book. It's got some STEM in it. It's got math, numbers. Next. You can see here maps, special features, the Red Baron. Next. And like I said, by the numbers, all the stuff there. Next. Animal Battles, our flagship series in torque, continue to sell well. Next. 2 books in one, like I said, 2 animal books in one, and then a fictional encounter at the end. Next. Next. Sports Superstars. Next. Great sports biographies, tons of features, facts, trophy cases. Next. And really important to us to get both men and women represented. Next. Black Sheep. Speaking of sports, our greatest moments in sports. Next. These are graphic nonfiction titles using primary sources where text is in red. Next. Moving on to Express. This is our adventure series, Adventures in Unplugged Coding. So coding books, teaching coding concepts without the need for a computer. Next. Final notes. Like I said, we have everything in stock right now. We don't care where you bought Bellwether books, when you bought them. Just send us pictures to customercare@bellwethermedia.com and we'll send you free replacements. Next. And that's it. Customercare@bellwethermedia.com. You can visit our website. We will be at ASL next week. And I'm Derek Zobel, the president. And thank you for staying with me as I rush through all that at the end. I appreciate
it. Thank you very much, Derek. Next, we'll be hearing from Catherine Camisa. Catherine has worked in children's publishing for over 10 years. She believes every child is a reader if you get the right book in their hands. Welcome, Catherine.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for being here today. I'm so excited to share the Child's World's new nonfiction titles for this fall. And ever since our beginnings in 1968, our goal has remained simple. We want all young children to truly enjoy reading and learning. And just to note, all of our titles are available in reinforced library binding as well as ebooks. We have one new series being added to our imprint, the First Steps, the Building Blocks of Reading, and this is for grades pre-K to grade 1. The series is Phonics Fun, and supporting the science of reading findings, this series will help young children learn the relationships between the letters of written language and the individual sounds of spoken language. It also supports decodable text collections. It's a 33 title series, and the covers interiors have a bright, clean design. Each book contains a note to caregivers and educators discussing the value of children learning phonics, controlled vocabulary, engaging decodable text, as I mentioned, and vibrant photographs will help young readers learn individual letter sounds. Each book tells a simple, entertaining story that highlights a letter and that letter's sound. The back matter includes a word list for review, as well as a simple activity for deeper reader engagement and to help strengthen their association with the sound. So Phonics Fun is just a great eye-catching series for kids learning to read. The next 3 series are part of our Wonder Books, early nonfiction filled with wonder imprint for grades 1st through 3rd. First, we have Everyday Mindfulness. This is a 12-title series. They're 24 pages, and children routinely experience situations that they could find stressful, difficult, or overwhelming. And this series examines those situations and teaches readers how mindfulness practices can help them to handle stress and other negative emotions. Each book focuses on mindfulness in a specific setting or circumstance, such as in the classroom or while using technology. That opening chapter will define and discuss what mindfulness is specifically within that circumstance or setting. The subsequent chapters provide scenarios and examples demonstrating techniques kids can use to pay attention to their emotions, identify them, and take positive actions to deal with those difficult everyday circumstances. Every book includes interesting sidebars with additional relevant information. And a hallmark of our Wonder Books imprint is something we call the Wonder More section, with critical thinking questions and writing exercises to strengthen learning. And probably my favorite feature of this series is that there's always a mindfulness activity or strategy included, such as sitting meditation or some other simple technique kids can utilize and practice. This is a wonderfully engaging series for young readers to learn how to deal with stress or feelings of being overwhelmed in specific settings. Next, we have Machines at Work, again, a 12-book series, and children are captivated by big machines, and these books are perfect for teaching young readers about the parts of big machines, what they're used for, and how they work. They contain and feature bright, colorful photos. Every book includes simple, age-appropriate diagrams highlighting the parts of the machine. And again, these books will contain that Wonder More section with critical thinking questions and writing exercises to strengthen learning. These books also include an activity for hands-on learning. So for instance, in the airplanes title, readers get to learn how to make paper gliders. So this series is just a fun and engaging way for young readers to learn how machines work. Next, we have Youth Sports, and this is also a 12-book series, 24 pages, and sports of all kinds are part of the childhood experience, and this series is really going to introduce young readers to the basics of 12 different sports, including the rules, necessary equipment, and helpful skills required for each activity. Each book focuses on one sport, such as t-ball or basketball, and each title contains simple diagrams that highlight the gear, the equipment, or area of play. There's really great extended learning opportunities, such as that Wonder More section with questions and writing exercises to get kids thinking and talking about what they've read, plus an activity for hands-on learning, something related to the sport. So this is just a wonderful series on a popular subject, and each of these sports are ones that kids are familiar with and play growing up. The next three series are part of our Stride Reading and Learning in Step imprint for grades 2nd through 5th. This is our high interest imprint. First up, we have joke books, and this is an 8-book series, and jokes are just a really great way to get kids excited about reading. Each book focuses on jokes of a specific topic, such as, space or holidays. It has a very simple design with sort of the multiple jokes and their punchlines on every page, along with original illustrations. However, there are really great informative sidebars that provide fun nonfiction facts related to the topic, and those appear on almost every spread. There's extended learning opportunities in these books as well, with something called the Benefits of Laughter section, which details the benefits of laughter, such as relaxation and stress relief. And then as part of the Stride imprint, there will always be a fast facts section with quick bullet points and key takeaway information, as well as something we call the One Stride Further section with questions and exercises to encourage critical thinking. So this is a fun series to get kids to put down a device and pick up a book instead. The next couple of series contain content that's more appropriate for an upper elementary or middle school reader. The first of which is Into the Wild Outdoors, which is also a 12-title set. And this series examines a variety of outdoor activities, highlighting the specific skills and background knowledge necessary for participating in different styles of hunting and fishing. Each book covers one style of fishing or hunting. Each book contains infographics, such as diagrams, charts, and maps. High interest sidebars help break up that main text and also utilize sort of a camouflage background or design that fits really nicely with that outdoors theme of the series. You'll also find that fast facts section with bullet points, as well as that One Stride Further section with questions and exercises to encourage critical thinking. So this is an appealing series on outdoor activities with a focus on safety and conservation. Next, we have Military's Most Powerful, which is an 8-title series, and it introduces readers to the most powerful technologies and tools the modern U.S. military has to offer. Each book covers one resource, such as drones or tanks, and explores those unique capabilities and characteristics of the featured resource. You'll find infographics in every book, again, such as diagrams, charts, or maps. High interest sidebars provide readers with even more information relevant to the topic. Each book ends with that fast facts section, along with that one stride further section for further learning. So this is an informative, high interest series on the current capabilities of the US military. The next series I'd like to share today is part of our Momentum, Engaging Narrative Nonfiction imprint for grades 3rd through 6th. Milestones in Technology is an 8-title series exploring how advancements in technology often build upon one another. And again, this narrative nonfiction series examines cutting-edge technologies of today, demonstrating how those earlier inventions and discoveries paved the way for new ones. Each book examines a different area of technology, offering readers a look at the advancements involved in high-interest topics such as movies or video games. The books feature engaging full-color and historical photos. A fast facts section opens every book with stats and that important background information, and then is followed by 4 to 5 chapters, each with a different narrative true story. The chapters move chronologically from an early invention to a more recent one. An infographic appears in every book that showcases a piece of technology. There are source notes for report writing and further research, and a think about it section with questions and exercises to encourage critical thinking. Readers love learning true stories, especially surrounding topics they're interested in, and this narrative element will captivate them from start to finish. And last but certainly not least, we are adding 8 titles to our best-selling series, The Black American Journey. This is written at a 5th grade level with interest from 4th through 7th. And this engaging series provides fascinating information on the heroic stories of African Americans who have played leading roles in shaping our nation's past, present, and future. The titles are a mix of historical and contemporary topics. And the series features include historical and modern photographs paired with engaging narrative text. You've got informative sidebars that are going to provide more historical context to what kids are reading, a timeline, and critical thinking questions for readers to engage more deeply with what they've read. And earlier releases have been really well reviewed in School Library Journal and Booklist, with the Tulsa Race Massacre title receiving a starred review from Booklist. So these editions should be just as popular as the original 2 releases within this series. And thank you again for your time today. We really appreciate it. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or to the customer service department at the Child's World. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. And finally, we'll hear from Maisha Johnson. Maisha is the Manager of Educational and Event Marketing in the Trade Marketing Department of Scholastic. With over 15 years of publishing experience, beginning at Scholastic as marketing assistant, Maisha has worked her way through the ranks from marketing coordinator to assistant manager and project manager. After working at Houghton Mifflin Harcourt as manager of events for 5 years, Maisha has returned to Scholastic Children's Books, where she affectionately refers to her journey as returning home. Her love of books and enthusiasm for working with authors is what keeps her going. Bring us home, Maisha.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining today. Today, I'm going to share with you some of our fall and spring titles. I'm going to start with our Learn About series. The first one is The 5 Senses. The human body is amazing. It gives us 5 different ways to learn about the world all around us. Through the eyes, skin, tongue, ears, and nose. Thanks to these parts of our bodies, we can see, feel, taste, hear, and smell. These are the 5 senses. Why do bananas taste good? Why does tickling cause us so much laughter? Illustrated with familiar examples, this fun nonfiction set in the Learn About series gives readers a close-up to look at the 5 senses, and it teaches them how each of the senses work. The sense of hearing is one of the 5 senses, and it is amazing. It helps us carry out a conversation and enjoy music and the sounds of nature. It also warns us if there is danger around. Learn about how we hear and common problems and diseases connected with this perfect first introduction to the sense of hearing. Learn about feelings. Learning social skills is a key element of early childhood development and in helping kids develop a healthy identity. These relatable stories and familiar settings explore some of the most important social and emotional needs of young children, encouraging them to recognize, understand, and express and navigate various emotions and situations that we probably experience every day at school and at home. From being brave, honest, and kind to being good friends, these books will help readers meet their best self. I can be brave when I try a new vegetable, like an eggplant. I can be brave by telling the truth, even if it might get me in trouble. This is Bob, and he wants to share with you what it means for him to be brave. You will see that when he works hard to be brave, he feels big and strong. It's his superpower. What's yours? Our next series, True Book Money series, is all about the money. How can I make money? What is inflation? What is the difference between a debit card and a credit card? Economics, and more specifically, money, plays such a large role in our lives. I'm still discovering and figuring out what this means for myself. This set of true books offers students the know-how and that they'll need to start on the road to financial literacy, a crucial skill for today's world. Interesting information is presented in a fun, friendly way and in the simplest terms possible, which will enable students to build strong financial habits early on in life. Understanding how society progressed from the barter system to currency and how that money works in the global economy are just two critical financial literacy skills that all kids should have. Did you know that the first paper currency appeared more than 1,200 years ago? Or that currency of the future will likely be digital? Learn all this and more in What is Money, a book that starts kids on the road to financial literacy. Another of our True Book series is Your Amazing Body. There are 5 books in this series. The human body is complex and a remarkable machine, digesting our food, pumping our blood, walking, running, and dancing. It takes our many body systems working together to keep us alive and living our lives to the fullest. This set of true books offers an in-depth look at our amazing bodies, one system at a time. Interesting information is presented in a fun, friendly way and in the simplest terms possible, giving students a behind-the-scenes look at how their bodies work. You can start wherever you like, but I like to start at the human brain because it is a natural wonder. The command center that through a network of nerves runs every other system in our bodies. Did you know that there are over 100 million neurons in the brain? Or that your funny bone is actually a nerve in the elbow, not a bone? Learn all this and more in Nervous System. I'm going to give you a brief sneak peek at some of our spring standout, standalone nonfiction titles. First up is Dear Ruby, Hear Our Hearts. National civil rights activist and icon Ruby Bridges responds to letters from thoughtful and concerned young students from across America. I've heard their hearts and now share their hearts with you. These pages truly speak to the power of children. A quote from Ruby Bridges. Ruby Bridges was one of the first Black children to attend an all-white elementary school in New Orleans. She traveled across the U.S., listening to the inspiring voices of young children. Dear Ruby, Hear Our Hearts is a picture book and a compilation of letters from concerned young students about today's issues, including bullying, climate change, gun violence, and racism. Reading Ruby's intuitive and inspirational responses, young readers will embrace the courage to be brave, bold, and confident. Next is another nonfiction picture book called We Who Produce Pearls by Joanna Ho and Ping Bodhi Bakia. From the New York Times bestselling and award-winning author Joanna Ho comes an uplifting call to action that highlights Asian American history, paired with vibrant and colorful illustrations by the artist and activist Amanda Ping Bodhi Bakia. We Who Produce Pearls has lovely inside illustrations, Amanda's signature bright and bold palette brings to light the strength and power within us all, creating a mesmerizing, stunning, and magical masterpiece that proves how we can shape our pain and struggle into one of joy and power. Together, Joanna and Amanda remind readers to rise up, speak out, and step into power. Our next picture book, We Dream a World, this spring, is written by the granddaughter of Martin Luther King Jr. and Coretta Scott King. She delivers a stirring tribute to her grandparents and speaks to children everywhere about her hopes for a new future. Yolanda is a national civil rights figure in her own right, and with inspiration from Langston Hughes and deep love for her grandparents, Yolanda shows the world that young people are strong enough to carry on their elders' legacy while creating a new path for themselves as well. Yolanda's words will comfort and inspire the next generation of dreamers. Not Yet, the story of an unlikely skater, is a middle grade book in our spring series. This is also a picture book, I'm sorry. A universal story about courage and determination that is loosely based on the life of five-time Emirati national champion Zara Lari, who is the first figure skater to compete internationally in a hijab. After watching an ice skating movie, young Zara sets her mind to learn how to ice skate, even though her family and friends doubt her abilities. After all, she's too old to learn the rink. She's too old to learn, the rink is too cold, and figure skaters don't look like her. Not yet, at least. Illustrated with energetic lines and colors that pop right off the page, we follow Zara's story as she glides through the floors of her house in her socks all the way to the ice rink. And as she repeatedly says, not yet, to naysayers, including herself, who try to convince her to stop pursuing her dream. This is an inspiring tale of self-empowerment and perseverance as we see the refrain, not yet, go from a low, meek mumble to a mantra and promise filled with determination. Courage to Dream is the young adult graphic novel. National Book Award winner Neil Schusterman and acclaimed illustrator Andres Vera Martinez present a graphic novel exploring the Holocaust through surreal visions and a textured canvas of heroism and hope. Courage to Dream plunges readers into the Holocaust, one of the greatest human atrocities, delving into the core of what it means to face the extinction of everything and everyone you hold dear. Neil Schusterman and Andreas Vera Martinez are internationally renowned creators who've collaborated on a masterwork that encourages the compassion, bold reaching for a dream. Next is a series we call Scholastic Focus. It's the premier home of thoroughly researched, beautifully written, and thoughtfully designed works of narrative nonfiction aimed at middle grade and young adult readers. Enigma Girls is from award-winning author Candace Fleming. It is a powerful and fascinating story of the brave and dedicated young women who helped to turn the tides of World War II for the Allies with their hard work and determination at Bletchley Park. The critical work of cold-cracking Nazi missives that went on behind its closed doors could determine a victory or loss against Hitler's army. Thick with tension and suspense, this is an extraordinary and relatively unknown story of World War II that will fascinate readers who will be thrilled to see young people playing such an important role in the wartime efforts. Last but not least is Heroes, a novel of Pearl Harbor. This is a new novel from #1 New York Times bestselling author Alan Gratz, and a major publishing moment for us. Get ready for a new World War II novel from Alan Gratz. It's an action-packed, inventive, and powerful take on the attack of Pearl Harbor, as only Alan Gratz can tell it. It's told with immediacy, high-stakes action, and meaningful twists that have made Alan Gratz one of today's biggest authors. This gripping novel tackles themes of bravery, prejudice, and what it means to stand up for what's right. Just as Gratz Ground Zero became a defining look at 9/11, for middle grade readers, this book delivers a necessary and unputdownable take on a date that still lives in infamy. A bonus in this book is that it ends with an original 10-page black and white comic that brings to life the comic book idea that the two main characters brainstorm in the novel. The comic is written by Alan Gratz and illustrated by Judith Tondoro. Before I wrap, I'm excited to share that our Power Story initiative is continuing to expand through events and other resources for building more equitable bookshelves. This initiative aims to highlight books, features, characters, and stories from groups whose identities and lived experiences have been suppressed and excluded from mainstream narratives. The current catalog is available online with an updated edition, including spring and summer titles. Fall 24 titles are coming later this year. You can subscribe to Power Story by email updates on the link on this slide. Thanks again for your time and supporting Scholastic Books.
Thank you so much, Maisha, and a big thank you to all of today's presenters. Tomorrow, all attendees will receive an email containing links to today's slide presentation, title list, certificate of completion, and video recording. For more about Booklist webinars, be sure to visit booklistonline.com/webinars, where you can view archives of past webinars and register for upcoming ones, like those you see here. Between January 1st and August 31st, 2023, ALA's Office for Intellectual Freedom documented challenges to 1,915 unique titles, an increase of 20% from the same reporting period in 2022. Join the fight to help protect the freedom to read by supporting the Unite Against Book Bans campaign and visit their website, uniteagainstbookbans.org, for resources, toolkits, merchandise, to donate, and more. And remember that you can utilize Booklist to support your library's collection development choices with reviews backed by the ALA. We have a special webinar subscription offer, and don't forget that your subscription dollars help ALA advocate on behalf of libraries, assisting those facing an unprecedented number of book challenges. Email us at info@booklistonline.com for more information. Attention booksellers! Booklist Reader showcases books your customers can purchase from your store today. In addition to sharing from your website, you can now distribute print copies to your visitors. Scan the QR code on the screen or visit our website to order copies for your store today. We have a special announcement introducing Booklist Book Club, a year-long partnership with your favorite publishers. Each month, Booklist will showcase book club picks and supporting materials from a different publisher, offering a wide range of genres and age groups to fit the needs of any book discussion group. Mark your calendars for November, when we'll hear about book club picks from Macmillan Publishers. To find out more information, scan the QR code on this slide or visit our website. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, and one more huge thank you to our panelists and to our sponsors, the Creative Company, Rourke Educational Media, Bellwether Media, The Child's World, and Scholastic. This concludes today's webinar. See you next time.